While Renault prepares the release of the R16, the company is simultaneously working on a model that will fit between this upper mid-range sedan and the R8s. It will be the R10. At the dawn of the 60s, the French manufacturer is shifting its strategy. Indeed, while the Renault 4 and the Dauphine are more than just successes, the relative failure of the Frégate, which would be replaced by the Renault Rambler, assembled in the Vilvoorde plant in Belgium, which would be a resounding flop, pushed the Diamond brand to reorganize its range by abandoning the large sedan category for a time. The Dauphine, for its part, continued its career even as its replacement, the R8, entered production in 1962, and Renault, as we mentioned, prepared to market the R16 in 1965. That same year, anticipating the gap in its lineup between the R8 and the R16, the company introduced the R10. Cleverly, with an obvious focus on economy, the R10 is not a new model, but a larger R8. The central part is kept, and the in-house design center extends the front and rear sections. While the R8 measures 3 meters 99, the R10 reaches 4 meters 20 and gains a few centimeters in width. As for the height, it remains identical at 1 meter 40. As we said, the R10 keeps the central part of the R8. These two sedans therefore have the same roof, the same doors, the same window cutouts, rear windows, and windshields. In contrast, the profile of the R10, in its front section, slopes slightly and appears softer. The profile features two creases, with the lower one highlighted by a chrome trim that bends at the front to meet the first. However, the most significant changes are to the front and rear, redesigned to give the new Renault its own unique identity. It should be noted that the various sketches already show rectangular headlights, much like those that would eventually equip the R10s in the latter part of their production run. The front panel, obviously lacking a grille, is quite smooth, with just two rounded notches housing round headlights similar to those of the R8, which are slightly recessed. Extending from them are turn signal and parking light units with a unique shape, set into a chrome base, all of which wrap around onto the fenders as expected. The headlights are connected by a chromed strip that holds the monograms. The R10 uses a bumper with a central recess, like on the R8 also, but with softened angles. The rear end is also redesigned. While the engine cover keeps its air vent, the R10 is adorned with rectangular lights that also slightly overlap onto the fenders. As for the bumper, it remains straight without embellishment, featuring two large rectangular guards. In the autumn of 1967, for the 1968 model year, the R10 swapped its round headlights for the rectangular ones of the Renault 16, also borrowing its combined parking and indicator light units, which migrated just above the bumpers. The bumper shape remains the same, allowing access to the spare tyre. The tail lights, slightly different, are presented in 3 parts on a chrome mount, placed lower down and no longer extending onto the fenders. New wheel covers and a new side trim without a recess are added to smooth the flanks. Technically, the Renault 10 uses the underpinnings of the Renault 8. It is therefore a monocoque, but also a rear-engine car, meaning rear-wheel drive with an engine placed longitudinally in the rear overhang. The R10 features 4 independent wheels with coil springs and shock absorbers, accompanied by an anti-roll bar at the front. It should be noted that on the R10, these suspensions are tuned to be softer to enhance passenger comfort. The same applies to the steering, which has also been modified for greater smoothness. The R10 also features 4 disc brakes, except for models produced in Spain, in Valladolid, which have drum brakes on the rear axle. The R10 houses the Sierra engine of 1,108 cubic centimeters, with a side camshaft and overhead valves. A block that offers 46 SAE horsepower and a torque of 7.9 meter-kilograms at 3,000 revolutions per minute. The transmission has 4 gears with a floor-mounted lever, nothing to break any records, with a top speed announced at 135 km per hour and a 0 to 100 km per hour time of over 20 seconds. Starting in 1966, the R10 was also offered with a Jaeger automatic transmission with push-button controls on the dashboard. In 1969, as the manufacturer introduced the new Renault 12. And as the R10's career enters its final phase, it adopts a 1,300 cubic centimeter engine that produces some 52 SAE horsepower with a torque of 9.7 meter-kilograms at 2,500 revolutions per minute. While this version gains flexibility, the top speed, as well as the acceleration and pickup, remains very close to the 100 version. While the interior space of the R10 is similar to that of the R8, the R10 aims to be more luxurious, more high quality. The bench seat and front seats feature specific upholstery, similar to that of the new R16. These seats have reclining backrests that can be converted into a bed. The dashboard, which only keeps the large round air vents from the R8, is therefore unique to it, just like its steering wheel. To add a touch of luxury, it is adorned with the essential faux wood trim and includes a horizontal speedometer. The R10 also features a lockable glove box and a closed storage compartment as well. Vanity mirror, ashtray, grab handle, seatbelt hook, and even door armrests are included. Thanks to the extended body, the trunk of the R10 is much larger than that of the R8, reaching 315 cubic decimeters. Note that it can be locked from inside the cabin. We should add that it is still possible to place some clothes or small pieces of luggage behind the back of the bench seat. Even though Renault is scaling back its American ambitions, the R10 will be allowed to set foot on US soil starting in 1967, where it replaces the R8 and Dauphine. The North American Renault 10s are distinguished by extra tubes reinforcing their bumpers, as well as by reflectors on the front and on the fenders. Like many export versions, they also feature reversing lights. Although they were sold until 1971, they kept round headlights throughout their entire career. In 1970, Renault offered the special Sierra series for the United States. While it underwent no mechanical changes, it was better equipped with front headrests or a steering wheel cover, and it featured decorative stripes, bullet-style mirrors, long-range headlights, front window deflectors, and more. Starting in 1966, the Renault 10 was also produced in Spain by FASA. Strictly identical to the French version, it only stands out with its monograms, its wheel covers identical to those of the Renault 8, and, as we said, must settle for drum brakes at the rear. The Renault 10 was also assembled in Australia, as well as in South Africa, in the East London factory. 2 Renault South Africa employees, the Porter brothers, created the Alconi company, which offered souped-up R8s and R10s for local drivers. Once they had worked on it, the Sierra engine could claim 68 SAE horsepower with a top speed of 155 km per hour. Finally, starting in 1966, the Renault 10, like the R8, but also the small Alpine, ended up on Bulgarian assembly lines. Indeed, just like its Romanian neighbour, the Bulgarian government wanted to establish an automotive industry. An agreement was thus reached between Renault and the Bulgarian state-owned companies ETO Bullet and CSP Metalim, giving birth to the Bulgar Renault brand. Due to the company's lack of success, the agreements were broken and the Plovdiv site was permanently closed in 1970. Unveiled at the 1965 Geneva Motor Show, the Renault 10 received a more than lukewarm reception. Many criticize its design, which they consider outdated and unbalanced. The press, including the French media, is no kinder, faulting its lack of performance, overly soft suspension, and imprecise steering. Reluctantly, the experts of the time still found a few qualities, such as its comfort, its braking, or even the handling of its gearbox, and a welcome flexibility on the 1300 versions. Yet we must admit that the management of the company and its CEO Pierre Dreyfus were right to offer their customers, who could not afford a Renault 16, a model more luxurious than the R8. Between 1965 and 1971, 700,000 R10s were produced. Not bad for an ugly duckling. But times are changing, and all manufacturers are abandoning rear-engine layouts one after another. While some keep rear-wheel drive, many are turning to front-wheel drive, including Renault with the R16 and the R12. The R10 would therefore be the last rear-engine model produced by Renault, at least until the arrival of the Twingo 3 in 2014, but that is another story.